Hey everyone, so I know I'm late to the party with this one, but I wanted to talk about the character Durge and his reintroduction into canon. He was a really cool bounty hunter that was prominently featured in the original Clone Wars show, as well as some of the material surrounding that show, like in comics and such. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't know too much about him specifically, like his backstory, just what I had seen of him from the show and some of the comics. So I'm grabbing some of this Legends information about him off of Wikipedia. Durge was a member of the Gendai species, which were basically these immortal, boneless creatures that could morph into whichever shape they desired. They were an amalgamation of muscle and tissue, and were capable of withstanding an extreme amount of damage and could survive dismemberment, which in the case of Durge actually happened in the TV show. They thought he was dead when in fact he just morphed himself back together. Generally, the Gendai will morph into a humanoid shape so they could fit into more protective armor. Again, in the case of Durge, he had morphed into a humanoid shape and wore armor and became a bounty hunter. Durge himself had lived for about 2,000 years and had a deep-seated hatred for Mandalorians. This hatred for Mandalorians is what drove him over to the side of the Separatists during the Clone Wars. In his eyes, the clone troopers of the Republic were basically a bunch of Mandalorians, and he reveled in the idea of killing them, so he joined the Separatists in their fight against the Republic. Durge's fate in Legends is a little ambiguous. He was believed to have been killed when he was sent into a star, where he would have burned up and died. However, by the time of the Galactic Civil War, an Imperial research team recovered the remains of a being that had been severely injured but had a remarkably fast recovery rate. This being that they discovered was given the name Project Durge. It's unknown if that actually was Durge, but it seems like that was the intention. So, he could have died during the Clone Wars, or he could have survived to continue being a bounty hunter during the Galactic Civil War. In canon, Durge is very much still alive by the time of the Galactic Civil War, and is wearing his trademark armor. He was first seen in the 2020 Doctor Aphra comic run, which I just finished reading earlier this week. Or, I didn't finish reading it, I finished getting caught up with it. The comic run isn't done yet. Anyway, in said comic, Dr. Aphra and Sana Staros were investigating a ship called the Opal Empress, owned by a cousin of the Tag family named Ebon Drake. Aphra and Sana were there to find Drake, but instead found that everyone on board the Opal Empress had been brutally killed. During their investigation, Durge arrived, claiming that he was there to claim the bounty on Ebon Drake, but he was dismayed when they found him already dead, just like the rest of the crew. Aphra and Sana quickly deduced that Durge did not kill all of the passengers on the ship, and wondered what had caused such destruction. Almost as if in response to their questions, an enormous swarm of insects called cymotes emerged from the vents and began to attack the trio. Running for their lives, they hatched a plan to kill the cymotes and escape the ship. They would lure the insects into the airlock and vent them into space. Durge volunteered to lead them away, claiming that he was notoriously hard to kill. Aphra and Sana followed Durge closely behind as he lured all of the cymotes into the airlock. But before Durge could then turn around and jump out of the airlock, Aphra betrayed him and vented the whole compartment with Durge still inside. The last that we see of Durge, he is floating helplessly in space, though it is implied that he is still alive, because after all, he is notoriously hard to kill. I'm personally very excited to see more of Durge, and I hope he returns in the Aphra comics as like a side villain or something. I always really liked Durge, but I genuinely didn't know much about him. As a kid, when I saw him on screen and in like the single comic that I read with him in it, I just thought he looked cool and that he did cool stuff. I didn't need much more than that. So now that he's making an appearance in the canon timeline, I've been doing some more research on him and looking at his appearances in Legends, and he seems like a really interesting character, if not a little OP. The whole immortal morphing bounty hunter thing seems a little out there, but this is Star Wars. The whole franchise is a little out there. Anyway, I hope you're just as excited to see more of Durge. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him. I will definitely make more videos about him sometime in the future. As always though, even though I totally forget to say it in some of my previous videos, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully.